Hey, everybody. Welcome to the interstitial session. We got a couple of sponsors who we really appreciate as sponsoring our conference. Today, I've got with us Casey Flaherty from Procertus and Tim Stanley from Justia. And we're going to start with Casey. Go for it.
Great. Thank you so much. Let me know if do you see my screen?
I sure do.
All right. So yeah, I am just another person with an opinion, but there is one thing about which I have more data than just about anybody, and that is that lawyers aren't very good with the basic technology tools of their trade. This is something I observed as a law firm associate and made an issue out of once I became in-house counsel. And frankly, I was then hired by a lot of other corporate law departments to go in and do efficiency audits of their outside counsel. So I've spent a lot of time on site at law firms, understanding what people are working in, how they're working, and how well they're working the tools at their disposal. What I have found over and over is that people's computer skills are much worse than you think. This isn't right here, isn't my data. This is data from an OECD study of 31 developed countries with over 350,000 participants that concluded that people don't really know what they're doing when it comes to the machines they use every single day. Just because you have a tool doesn't mean you know how to use it. And yet we do have a duty to be competent. What don't people know how to do? It's quite surprising. So the curse of ignorance is you don't know what you don't know. But the curse of knowledge is that once you know something, it's hard to imagine not knowing it. And it is often assumed that people know much more than they actually do when it comes to technology. Easy example from the legal space. Lawyers write all kinds of contracts. Even litigators like me write contracts. We just call them settlement agreements. Lots of sections, lots of cross-references, lots of defined terms. Because we use cross-references so heavily for about 30 years, there's been an automated cross-reference feature in Word. And I can tell you that about 1% of lawyers and staff know how to use it. This is a time issue, of course, if you have a long contract. Every time lawyers who love to edit things rejigger the contract, every cross-reference needs to be checked, and most of them have to be changed. But it's not just time, it's quality. Lots of opportunities for human error, and not just quality of work, quality of life. This is very, very boring, which is why people are so error prone. It is one of those areas where the machines are already better than we are. We struggle with track changes. We struggle with redactions. We really struggle with redactions. I mean, really, really struggle with redactions. We have a very hard time with Excel. Imagine being this young, poor soul. Excel and PDF. This is a problem, but it is a solvable problem. In order to solve the problem, however, we have to let go of some myths. Importantly, the myth of the digital native. It is pernicious, it is endemic. Just because you get an Instagram account in utero doesn't mean you know how to use enterprise level technology. Not because there's anything wrong with the kids these days, there absolutely isn't. It's simply the fact that our technology is not particularly user-friendly for a wide variety of reasons. We want everything to be like Google, but frankly, not even Google is like Google. Google offers 2 6-week courses on how to use Google, because once you get past basic keyword searching, it gets a lot more Boolean. And they have cut the Gordian knot of providing a minimalist user interface that solves most people's problems very well, and then rewarding power users who actually learn how to use the application. But learning is required. It is not intuitive. Certainly, Google could stuff all of this into a user interface, but they would lose that hallmark minimalism. I submit to you that Word is very similar. If you want to use it at its simplest, a typewriter with a glowing screen, it's actually quite intuitive. You start typing, the words appear. It's only when you want to start doing something more complex, like putting together a legal document, that you need to learn what all these buttons do, and not necessarily all of them, but some of them. Word is not a single purpose app. It is an app ecosystem. And how many of these apps do we actually know how to use, and how many should we? The answer is a lot. Unfortunately, we do have that curse of ignorance. It's not just that people don't know how to use these tools. They don't know that the tools can even do them. So if you want to learn how to automate cross references, there's a million quality videos on YouTube, but you actually have to know as a foundational matter that cross references can be automated. It doesn't, so it's not necessary that you remember strictly how to do it, just that it can be done. And then if it's something you do all the time, you will recall it. That said, technology does not lend itself particularly well to the classroom in terms of learning specific technical skills. We at ProCertis actually have competency-based learning modules that we encourage law schools, and we're working with over 100 law schools at this point to make part of their curriculum. So we're not suggesting a full class on Word or a full class on Excel, but you can integrate proper training into your contracts courses, legal writing courses, business courses. PDF is all about filing with the court, meeting e-filing rules. It's perfect for civil procedure. PowerPoint, trial ad. These are modules that people can do outside of the classroom, so they can become part of the course without becoming a course themselves. Part of it is about skill set, but a lot of it's about mindset. We want people to think differently about the tools at their disposal. We want to give them strong foundations so that they can learn on their own, so that they can figure out how to problem solve using technology rather than the tried and true brute force method. As you all know, the old engineering saw is when brute force fails, you aren't using enough. This is table stakes. This will not make anybody a great lawyer, but it will make them good at certain means of production that are absolutely essential to being a fully functional member of the profession. We're at the beginning of an accelerating growth curve. These kinds of skills are only going to become more and more important. I'll flash my contact information up here really quick. Do I have, John, I just want to check, do I have 2 minutes just to show the product?
Go for it.
Perfect. You should now be seeing a modules list. This is what ProCertis looks like. The students get a login. They set their own password. We passed all security testing of all sorts. We have both assessments and trainers. The assessment was my original idea. I tested AmLaw associates on a bunch of work that I as a client was paying for. I could personally complete the sequence of tasks in 20 minutes. The average AmLaw associate took over 2 hours. Not because they were dumb, not because they weren't hardworking, simply because they had never been taught anywhere along the way. So it's one thing to test, but people do need to learn, and that's why we have the trainers. Here's examples of what we have. This is in the contract one. Again, we have memos, we have briefs, we have PDF, we have PowerPoint, we have Excel. But the way it works is they download a document, and you see there's a timer over here, and then they perform whatever task they've been asked to do. Here it's turn off track changes, accept all changes in document. And if you know what you're doing, it takes a few seconds. And if you don't know what you're doing, you have to look it up. That's it. You save it, you close it. Sorry, and then you upload it. It should be it's at the top of the downloads folder, right there, and we grade it. And see, I didn't cut off a comment, so now I need to learn how to do that. I hit teach me, and it shows me a video of exactly how to do that. And so the students can spend as much time in the trainer as they need to. And in turn, And in terms of grading them, there's lots of reporting on the back end, but you can either require them just to complete the trainer, that is, get everything right in as many attempts as they want, or you can actually have them go through the assessment. And if they do that at a sufficient level of proficiency, that's where they're awarded the micro certifications, which they can then load to LinkedIn. And when they're administered by a third party, we're clicked on, it says this person earned this badge on this date, and this is what they had to do. Again, it is completely competency based. It can be done completely outside the classroom. All you have to do is assign it and then check whether or not it's done. And you have a lot of options for what you assign and how far you require them to go. And that's it. I think I'm on time. I don't know if, John, you had any questions for me, or if we're gonna move on. I really appreciate everyone's time and attention. Again, feel free to email me at your leisure.
Great slides, Casey.
No problem. I appreciate it. All right.
Didn't see any questions pop up. The number one question that everybody always asks is how much does it cost? But you can, if you want to answer that, or at least tell who to contact for such information.
Contact me. It's I should have asked my partner exactly what the pricing is, because it shifted a bit. But let's just say it's low enough that no one ever blinks at it. Well, this has been a labor of love for 10 years, because this is something I'm really passionate about. We need operating income, but this is, I've never made a dime off the company. Everything has gone back into expanding the number of modules in order to just get it out there. It causes me quite a bit of pain to see really hardworking people who have the opportunity to add a lot of value stuck because of all the unnecessary friction in their work. This is painful for young lawyers and older lawyers in a way that's completely unnecessary and completely fixable. And sorry, I'm now monologuing like a Bond villain. I have a true passion, because I do think that this isn't the most important problem in the world, but it is one that we can
fixable.
It's a real problem, and it's fixable. Okay, so stepping off my soapbox, thank you so very much.
You bet. Thank you for sponsoring the conference. All right, Tim, it's all yours now.
All right. I'm going to try something different. We'll use a browser window this time. Last time my slide stuff. We'll see how this works. If I close it, I'll be lost, but hopefully nothing bad happens. We'll find out. All right. Is that showing up?
Free. Yep.
All right, there we go. Good. So I thought this time, I got some different things, different types of slides, and I've done some LinkedIn talks and some other things with Cali in the old days. Actually, did a Google talk in 1999 in Cali, a long time ago in Oregon. But I thought I'd run through a few of the things that we have on Justia today. So I'm going to cover a little bit more of our own stuff, which I don't always do. I sometimes do a little bit of it. And talk a little bit about some of the free stuff that we do, which, we also make websites for personal injury law firms in Maryland, but, we also, we do some free things with the revenue we produce. So we do a little bit of both. So first, free in general, it's sort of obviously LII, Cornell's the big dog with everybody in the free world. And we're sort of like follower-ons of LII, and OIA is now part of LII. And law.gov doesn't really exist, but think of that as Carl Malamud in publicresource.org, because he was doing law.gov, and then the Library of Congress decided to take over the domain name, so he couldn't use it as marketing. He had to come back to resource.org. So we all know Cornell, that, and you can see, hey, look, I was looking at Rogue exercise equipment, some of my ads there for Rogue stuff recently. We got OIA, which is undergoing a site redesign, but if Cornell, we all know codes, cases, everything on Cornell. OIA, Supreme Court stuff, I think everybody pretty much knows that on that part. There are folks like Callie also been very supportive of the free law world. I mean, really sort of in the middle of tying everybody up together and things like that. We have Carl and publicresource.org, just, whether it's litigating or putting up free stuff or being sued in, different parts of the world. Carl's sort of in the middle of everything. So, he's got more stuff coming out. So there's a couple interesting things coming. You have the Free.Law project and Mike Listener, who does a lot of stuff. He took over the recap project from Princeton for getting pacer documents shared out and does data dumps in that into the Internet Archive. And so we do stuff with him him and Brian Carver as well. And then Unicourt, we've been doing a lot of stuff with, especially on the dockets. And they've really, I don't know if you guys have checked out Unicourt recently, but they've done a pretty good job of putting up a lot of information. And you could do a lot of searches through different things, doing a lot of different, like we do some federal docket stuff with them on the civil side, but they're doing the criminal, the bankruptcy, a lot of the states. And they've got a really good team. They have a great team that they have working on this stuff. So we're really happy working with them on different things. And then of course, Fastcase, Ed Walter is also on the board at publicresource.org. But Fastcase is a lot of the stuff that you see sort of going out in the free world somehow originates from Fastcase many times. So a lot of the cases that came out, a lot of the, recently Fastcase gave out the regulations for all 50 states out to publicresource.org in a joint project with Cornell. And then, of course, we got them, we put them up too. And there'll be some more development on that in terms of building up better sets of administrative codes and regulations. But again, originating from Fastcase. Then, of course, the World LIIs, you guys should always go check out this site. And then several lists of the free access to law movement. So that's sort of a separate group. And right here, it's Justia is on this one too. So you see Justia here somewhere. There we are, right there, that bomb part. So with that, I'm just going to quickly run through stuff because I think some people know who Justia is, some people don't. We don't do a lot of marketing. This is, we go to this conference, there's a couple others, but not really marketers, but just sort of more developers, if anything. So this is sort of our homepage. If you liked Yahoo in 1998, we kept it live for you. Fewer ads, but nice text links, very sort of like a utility type of site, which is always good for research and things. Basic, it's our company page, but the key thing is, the purpose of the company is to make law free, and we take it, we make it free. We do daily dumps of our case law for folks. There's a lot of people that get their case law and different updates from us, code updates and other things like that. So we do lots of dumps, also send things to the Internet Archive. We have a lot of consumer areas right now. This is still being built out. I don't think it's at the level of NOLO at all, but we're building it out slowly but surely and sort of picking that part up. And here's like an example adoption page. We have a lot of pages, on this part, all being written by attorneys, and it's really being picked up quite a bit. Now, this has been a big change. If you go like the Internet Archive, you look at our site, like the internal pages for like the content like this, 5 years ago, horrible, not good. But now it's good. So we've gone to good, and now we're going to keep going from there. So we got a few lawyer writers, they write a lot of stuff, so they're really doing a pretty good job. Whoops, I think I just lost my Mexico one. Well, I'll just drop back. Then we have Mexico, just in Mexico. So we're doing the consumer stuff like we do on the US side. We've even doing better in Mexico. So we've got dedicated lawyers working on this. And this part's just been doing really well. We've put up a lot of stuff for folks in Mexico, and that's been really increasing quite a bit. Once we get through getting the core content both in the US and in Mexico, we will have the US stuff in Spanish, and we'll have the Mexico stuff in English. So we'll have multi-languages for both countries. Right now, US stuff's in English and Mexico stuff's in Spanish, but that will change. And we've been moving towards more bilingual stuff, and eventually we'll bring in French, because we're going to do Canada. And I don't think you can go to Canada if you don't have French on your site. I think that's the rule or something like that. We spent this last year, COVID has hit. And I got to tell you, when it hit right away, even though I was here last year all smiling and talking about Beach Week and stuff like that, it was a little bit nervous. We're not a huge company. We're like maybe a little over 100 employees, and maybe another 20 contractors, more or less making their living off Justia stuff. So not huge, but I was really sort of worried that when COVID hit, the courts were shutting down, and it looked like things might be really, really tough. And I was, we cut some salaries to some of the executives and stuff, and sort of locked down. But then things turned out okay. So it turned out the business side, I think maybe people moved their money off billboards and put it onto, I don't know, internet ads or websites. So it turned out okay. But I certainly wasn't known at the time. Very a little bit nervous time there. But this year we've taken, as we've been doing stuff, we've spent a lot of time building up COVID resources. So this has been sort of a large part. I know the ABA has done some stuff. A lot of people have, but we've had, pretty good attention of this. We've also worked with clients to get their COVID information centers up on each of their websites. So there's been a lot of sort of work on things like that. And then we've started spending, a little bit on some of these like 50 state comparison stuff. This reminds me of the old LRN.com used to do this back in the old days, back in the 90s, before they became the ethics world of whatever it is, whatever LRN Dove has it as now. But they have a lot of 50 state comparisons. We've started moving into this as well. So this is like, phone call recording, which, sometimes is of interest. I don't think people record Biden as much as they record Trump, but there are some recordings every once in a while. So that, that's sort of an initial part. That's sort of the basic consumer part. And then we have this lawyer directory, and then I'll start going to some of the databases. And this is really, you can think of it as like a lawyer directory. That's one way to think of it. But you can also think of it as like our user space for participation. So we do a pretty good job of authenticating lawyers, either by checking their phone number or email address at the bar, or by getting proof of their bar ID. So they can't answer questions, they can't annotate cases. There's a lot of participation that if they want to do on our site and sort of get some credit for it, we give them pretty good credit. We're not, our free stuff, our free profiles are really nice. So it's pretty good. But you got to be aware. And so this has sort of been the driving part of it. And you can type in, I don't know, type in like immigration, Los Angeles or something like that. You can see it's basic stuff, nothing too crazy. And you get different attorneys. They have profiles. This guy's a Justia 10. What could be better than that? Lawyers rate each other, but very clean. If you ever see like LinkedIn, like a real clean version of LinkedIn. So this is like a paid guy because it says premium. And, he's got the things here. But if you go to like here's a free one. So Carl doesn't even pay us money. It's the first organic free. He answers a lot of questions. So, but this is a free one. This guy doesn't pay us money. It does quite well. Carl answers a lot of questions. He's very active. I think his answers have proven that he doesn't need to purchase ad placements. He can just work. And then we also mix into our lawyer directory different nonprofits and legal aid associations. So we get, it's not always obvious if you just come to it, but we get a lot of traffic on our legal aid and a nonprofit pro bono stuff, helping out stuff. And I just closed that page accidentally, which probably happened a few more times here, but anyways, we get quite a bit there. Then we have an Ask a Lawyer part. This is similar to like Avo's Ask a Lawyer, and really, I say inspired by Avo's Ask a Lawyer. And we have lots of questions coming in. People get free answers. We've done a pretty good job of this. Here's a guy, Anthony's answered 76 questions this month, and most of the answers are pretty good. Some of the answers are self-serving marketing. Sometimes they get in fights on it, and some people abuse it. We will kick people off if they abuse it. We've had some weird fights that take place here, like it's a message board or something. It's not, but we do get a lot of answers out there, and I think people have found it pretty valuable. And for lawyers, they can sort of answer questions. They get, it's an answer here, and you get pretty good promotion if you answer a question, right? So it's pretty good. You get the phone number, the website, everything else. All right, so that's the lawyer directory, which also helps support our business, as do building websites for attorneys, as do setting up Google cost per click or local service ads or Facebook marketing. So we do this marketing for attorneys. The overlap on the portal side, though, is the directory, because we make some revenue there, but we also do use as our user space for participation. So that's sort of the tie-in. I want cases annotated. I want lawyers annotating the cases. At FindLaw, in my old days at FindLaw, a long time ago, we tried it without having lawyers annotate it, and it was horrible, right? It was people fighting about Roe v. Wade, and we'd have annotations that were like 8 pages long, and we shut it down after like a week and a half. It was that, gun rights, there was a bunch of stuff going on. So we've locked that down. But we had a pretty good job getting lawyers to participate, and they take it a little bit more seriously, and they're easier to control, because if they abuse it, we don't let them participate. So then we have a lot of law stuff. So we have, all the, federal stuff, obviously we have the codes, the regs, all the case law, all the Supreme Court cases, federal appellate stuff back to the early 1900s. We have all the state cases up, at least back to like the 1950s, often back to the 1800s on that. All the state codes, we'll have the state codes up for multiple years. So you can track any particular year of code. We keep those data sets up to date. We also have the regs now coming in by way of fast case, where we're keeping basically right now a snapshot of the regs. Eventually with LII and stuff, there will be at some point a way to sort of put a date and try to figure out what the regs were on that particular date. That's sort of what the movement's towards. But there are issues like that. If you ever talk to John Jurgensen, who sort of did some of that stuff with New Jersey, you have to deal with different aspects, like, do they use the date it goes in effect or the date that it was passed, right? It's two different things. So we got some work to do on that, those types of things, but it should be pretty good. So there's just tons of databases up there, and this is updated every day, over to nonstop. It's like being in those stables shoveling, except it's free law, not the other stuff. We got Annotated Constitution. This is like what LII has, coming in from Library of Congress with their annotations. We've added some additional stuff as well into it, but it's pretty good. It's, Supreme Court Center, again, all the Supreme Court stuff. Lots of links over to OIA on here if you want to listen to the arguments. OIA is always probably the best place to go over there. And then we have, appellate and state cases. The other one that's sort of interesting is our federal cases. You can sort of track cases. You can track different companies. You could actually combine companies if you wanted to. There's different ways to combine RSS feeds. You could combine an industry or something, or a court and a particular practice. There's a lot of different ways you can sort of track stuff using RSS feeds if you'd like to. But we get this stuff's updated all the time. And then for some of the cases, not all of them, but some of the cases we'll go through and we'll sort of feature all the documents, and we'll grab everything, all the filings, all the attachments. So you could go, here's like a complaint. This is Kabuki getting sued, and you can sort of, you get this stuff, you can see the attachments, stuff like that. It's pretty good. And again, you can get copies of it. You can use the copies. We've opened this up to certain newspaper reporters use our system. A long time ago, the guys at Law 360 used our stuff before they sold off to Lexis. Our basic rule is we open our system to be used by folks. It's just that whatever we get, we're putting up for free, and it's gonna be shared with, the recap folks and things like that. So you just realize that part goes on. Lots of US state stuff, same thing, constitutions, codes, regs, cases. There's like Illinois stuff. And it gives you an idea of Gelda. Well, once we got to 2010, we started collecting get a little bit better at the statutes. 2005, it seemed like we stopped for a little bit, but I'm sure there was a good reason. And then the other part that's pretty good, I think folks like, we send out millions of emails, so just tons. And for lawyers, that's pretty good. Lawyers like to read emails. They're, a lot of people think they're on Twitter and Facebook and Snap, but not as much as you would expect them to be. They actually read emails. And so we send out email case summaries every day of all the new sort of breaking cases at all the federal appellate courts, Supreme Court, all the top level federal appellate, and then the federal appellate, and then all the top level state courts. So like, Texas, you got criminal appeals and the Supreme Court. We do both those too. We got Delaware. We also do the Chancery Court. And then for California, we're doing all the appellate courts, mainly because we were giving a fee to continuing education of the bar. It's a group in Oakland that works with UCLA and the state bar, and they wanted updates of those. So we decided to do all California. Also, California, so why not? But these go out daily, and then we take weekly summaries. We combine the ones across the different states of these different practice areas. And so these go out, they're free. People pass them around. I know they do different things with them. We send them to Fast Case. We send them to VLEX, for free. We just sort of share them out, put them on our own cases. We have blogs with them. If you just want to read case summaries on a blog, you could do that too, whatever you want to do. But it's been it's sort of been pretty good. Here you can sort of see the different, you want to get by RSS feed. You want to get it on Facebook, for some of you guys, or Twitter. I don't know, maybe Twitter. We got to do these things. We can't do these things automatically as much on Twitter. They keep shutting everything down. But we got a lot of different ways to get the feeds and things like that as well. But most people email, and so the emails go out, and sometimes it goes to a law librarian, they split it up and they send out what they want to the different partners or different law professors. Legal jobs, something we're just starting to enter in, but we will start putting together a large free legal job database of stuff and allow people to post in. The big thing here is you want real law firms posting. How do you keep all these headhunter groups posting fake jobs? Because they focus, they'll post a job. Hey, you gotta have a legal degree. You could be business development at Google, but really they're trying to get you to move from Skadden to White and Case, right? Which fine, I get the trickery. But also just for basic paralegals, legal assistants, and not just for the large law firms, but for everybody. And so pretty good idea how we can sort of get this going, but we're sort of moving along with it right now. We're in the process of aggregating and collecting and setting up a system for people to, lawyers in our system that can share jobs with probably an expiration date of either 2 weeks to 30 days, and then they'd have to renew it to keep it up. And I got to figure out how to deal with the headhunter stuff. I don't have to figure that part out. It used to look fancier because it was prettier, but we took away the prettiness for consistency. But this is our blog directory. So you can get lots of different blogs here, broken down by practice area, also broken down by jurisdiction. You can break it down by states, right? Here's blogs in different states. Same thing with any of these things. You can also go in here and, employment law. You can see the most recent ones like that. You can see it's a list view if you want to, some recent posts. You get RSS feeds, last 20, last 100 posts. Get popularity today. Popularity is a little bit iffy. It's how many people visit on our site. I don't know if it's really popular, but it's what it's easy to manipulate. Lots of little short posts tend to do pretty well. But anyways, it's something else. The blog search has been pretty popular and we've been doing okay with that. We got some recall news here, just recall stuff. Same thing, you do updates. The nicer stuff with the recalls, let's see it right off here, but we have one for auto recalls. So you can actually track your automobiles to find out recalls with an RSS feed. So you could go to autorecalls.justia.com and you could put your car in, track your thing, and then when you get a recall, it shows up there, and then you can call up your dealer and get, or your mechanic, or your recall done for free. And this is the one I was just showing this, sort of talking to Elmer about this a second. We're doing this a little bit right now. We just started this. This is sort of the beginning part. We're starting to do the business contracts again. So we'd done this at, some of us had done this at FindLaw in the old days, at Tech Deals FindLaw, which is not fully up to date. Then Ken Chan had done it. It had been a FindLaw left in his own site, One CLE. And now you see a great version of this at Law Insider. If you ever seen Law Insider, they've taken the contracts, they've broken down the clauses and things like that as well. We're just starting to do this again. This is sort of our initial cut. I think it's like a year's worth of contracts. We got a lot more getting ready to put up, and we're gonna do some classification stuff with Cornell, and also we'll break out some of the clauses and stuff. I mean, I think Law Insider has a subscription product, which I think is really good, which is why I think most real practitioners will want to use. I think Law Insider is going to keep doing well there, but we have some ideas how we want to play with this. The contract stuff, and also tie the contract stuff into some of the litigation stuff that goes on, where you can tie into the contract, and then you might find similar contracts by the same firm that are sort of in place. But anyways, this, again, the contract stuff, even back in the old FindLaw days, we were back then we were doing a deal with CNN at the time, and this one site was selling a like WebMD CNN deal or something like that. They're selling it for $20. I thought, how the hell do these guys get WebMD CNN, Time Warner's contract? But then I remember Carl Malamud had put up all the SEC documents with all the filings, because I remember he told me about that. And then we had a deal at the time with a company called Free Edgar. It's no exists Edgar now, but that sometimes free doesn't work. But anyways, we went there, we found it, and then we started doing the tech deals at FindLaw. They sort of didn't keep things quite up to date. And then One CLE, and then now we're doing it. So it's in roundabout way, all because we were trying to find out how this one group got a contract back in 1999. So here we are 22 years later. So that's how it works. I also say that the CNN guys said they wouldn't do certain things on the contract, and then we showed them their previous contract, and they were really angry that we had it because it said confidential at the top, and they were pissed. But well, you can be angry that we have it. That's a filing issue, but stop lying, right? That's the thing. We also have all the patents up here, which also can tie nicely into some of the patent lawsuits that are going on in terms of subject matter stuff. We've got trademarks. We got all the trademarks up as well. Just big data set stuff. Again, good for some unfair competition claims, different things like that you see, and tying it in. And then we're doing a little bit of stuff here with like company profiles. This is the beginning part. It's been up. It's sort of a little bit baby steps here. We're trying to get the trademarks, the patents, some of the litigation that's coming in, some of the decisions involving the companies, and we'll be bringing in their contracts as well. So you can see LinkedIn's part of Microsoft now, but we will go to Microsoft contracts, try to tag which ones are in LinkedIn. But basically like a little mini legal profile of the site. So we'll start of the company. So we'll do that, and we'll eventually start working at least the general counsel GCs and some of the corporate counsel people in here as well. But this is like the beginning step, so you can sort of get an idea. It's sort of coming along. We got some stuff on law schools. It's it's something that we've been working on a bit. I think we still have a bit more stuff to do on it, but we've added a little bit more. The big thing here is we're trying to look at how to collect the social media stuff. So if you got how we're going to tie the social media into these profiles. Again, baby steps right now, but you can see that you could sort of alert students as to what's going on with what the blogs at these schools, their different Twitter accounts, and make it easier for students to find different things to follow while they're trying to make decisions as to where to apply and things like that. So it's, little beginning steps, but it's, it's starting out. Then we have Verdict, which is our commentary stuff. This was the guy people at Fine Laws writ, but then they sort of canceled it out to focus on other things. And then Julie Hilden, who died a few years ago, and John Dean contacted us, and we moved it over pretty quick. It took us like a month or so to get it up and running on Justia. And this is run by David Kemp, who's at Berkeley, might be at NYU soon, sort of doing some teaching too. He runs this stuff right now, but this is daily stuff, and it's pretty good. It's commentary stuff. It's law professors. So if you take the center and you go left and you go a little bit more left, you get the idea of the more or less part of where it is, but it's more professors. We have a couple libertarian type folks periodically. A lot of anti-Trump stuff. So we're not getting attacked as much anymore. We used to get our servers attacked all the time whenever a negative Trump thing would go out, which was like every other day. Professors, we're just a business. No, just kidding. We hate Trump too. But on that part, that's slowed down a bit. Then we have our own technology blog, finally getting updated more often. And we have someone focused on writing stuff on that. And then we have the same stuff in Spanish. And I'm almost through here. Here's our marketing stuff. Here's our marketing site. We're going to play with this a little bit more, if it gives you an idea. So you always say, well, it's all free. Why do you make money? Well, this is, if you're in Cleveland and you're a criminal lawyer, I want to call us, I can help you. And then we set up this Just Your Brand site because we're playing around with branding stuff. We got we got this, Arturo is a really good marketer and stuff, and he's been helping us with our brand stuff. And we got some sub brands coming out. We're slowly, we can't just be programmers all day doing, Perl, Python, and PHP or whatever. We got to do a little bit of marketing. Makes it pretty, and stuff like that. You go in there, it's like it's like an icon, a logo. Look at this. Tells you how it's constructed with the spacing. It wasn't this initial spacing. They spent a lot of time figuring out the spacing. So I said, okay, now it's on my hat. So it's just the same way. Oops, I just lose my face. All right, and then this is the last thing I wanted to mention. If you guys are around tomorrow, Tom Bruce is going to be live in Ithaca. So if you're on Twitch, and I know a lot of you are on Twitch, mainly probably for gaming stuff, but they also have live music shows. So you might want to check this out. 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, but he'll be playing live. So see right here, it says live from Ithaca. Tom Bruce. All right. So what more could you want there? So that's free law in musical form. It's good, or free form music, however you want to look at it, but it's going to be pretty good. So
I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock Eastern?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock Pacific.
Pacific. All right, don't listen to anything I just said. This will have to be edited in the video, although it'll be over by then, so probably won't matter. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, 5 o'clock. Oh, sorry, everybody would have got there early and they'd been pissed. All right, thanks, John. Yeah.
Oh, I saw them announce that. I'm like, oh, we gotta stream it during the conference. But I'm like, oh, it's on after the conference.
Yeah. So anyways, this will be going on. So maybe when we get home at night, you want some easy listening music, just relax. There you go.
I have it on my calendar already. So yeah.
Tim, that was a fire hose. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Right. How do you? I just got one question. First of all, I didn't know you had so much excellent consumer law stuff, which I'm very interested in because of our access to justice work. How do you guys keep that stuff up to date? As the laws change or stuff, or is that up to the authors?
It's not as difficult as you think, except for things like tax. A little bit of employment gets updated periodically. Every once in a while, you get a big bankruptcy bill, but not all the time. So parts of it are hard, but not if you stay on top of the things that are going through. It's not crazy. We're doing some stuff on voting for 50 states that'll be updated quite a bit this year.
Oh boy.
So there are different things that are going on, but you basically, we're following all the codes and we're following session laws as well, which I didn't show. There are some other things that are going on. So we can pretty much track things as they're occurring. The bigger issue that tends to happen is they pass a law and then it's challenged in court right away. So it actually doesn't go in place. So you change it. And to a certain extent, we haven't done a ton of 50 state stuff yet. So we were just doing, more general type stuff right now. As we get into more 50 state stuff, it does get more complicated quickly. But we'll sort of get ready and pick up on it. And then we'll also do the flow for people. I was just talking to, like, we host some different site. We host the guy who runs Open Jurist, which is a separate site. Probably a competitor, but we host the site for free. It's one of our many free law folks. And he's looking at setting up some stuff that might help people do a flow in terms of what decisions they need to make for different types of law. And we'll probably try to integrate that into it. Or if you ever seen legalconsumer.com with Albin, he used to work at NOLO. That has a lot of stuff like certain Medicaid payments you could get, certain student loan stuff you can get, different bankruptcy items, calculators and things like that he's put together. So we'll work with other folks sort of in the free law world and see what we can bring in as well to help people out.
And, just because I like to make it clear, everything you showed us, except for buying advertising for your personal injury law firm, is free.
Yeah. And even websites, we have free websites as well. We have the free directory listing. Like a lot of guys just want the link for SEO. That's free. You can get the profile and you put the link in there.
So every law student who graduates should get in the Justia directory because of the benefit.
They should at least get that, fill it out, because you want to control your namespace on Google, if nothing else. We will rank for your name if you fill out your profile. If you don't fill out your profile, it doesn't matter too much. But like, it's not going to help you, John, because your name's,
John
celebrity name. So yeah, but other people,
I can hide on the internet in plain sight.
Yeah, I got some right-wing academic from the UK who uses my name, but so no good there either. But for other folks, it's very helpful, and you'd be amazed how much people search your name on Google before they contact you or hire you. So students definitely should be doing it, as should other lawyers. I mean, it's free. I mean, outside of your time, you got to do it. And, but even the review systems, we have client reviews, we have lawyer reviews. But if people really don't want that, they can opt out. I'm not going to force people to get reviews. And if someone writes, lawyers can challenge reviews if they want. We will reach back out to have the person prove they were actually a client, which a lot of times, so a lot of some of those fake things go away. Sometimes they have fake positive reviews, don't we call those as well? We had one guy who had reviews coming in every hour using .ru email addresses. And granted, we require a Facebook or a LinkedIn, profile just to even do a client review. But RU email addresses, we write back, ask for proof, and they would always bounce. And then I talked to a lawyer and I said, you're going to get disbarred doing this. It's not, you're a blog post example away from having a problem right now with the State Bar of California. Don't write fake reviews. And then he said, well, it's a marketing guy, so maybe it was. But so we have lots of different things.
Hundreds of people sitting there checking these things. You're trying to automate this, or at least simplify the flows as much as possible, right?
You can flag things pretty easily. Like the fake positive ones are, he was the greatest car accident lawyer ever. He answered my calls. I mean, that's the type of crap. Pretty easy to flag those. But yeah, we check a lot though, and then we wait for responses to come back, as opposed to some other folks who don't check the reviews at all. And then you go there and you see they have 500 reviews. You go, how did Solo get 500 reviews? No.
It did.
Yeah.